have players of the game. We have a whole heap of stuff to talk about. There has been injuries galore. There have been goals galore, games galore, cancellations, everything. Michelle and I have tag team. I'm the other one overseas. Cody is staying put in Australia. Hey, guys, it's another week. How are we all? It's weird talking to you guys at this time of the day. How have we been?
Clearly, I'm the broke one here. I'm the one that's never gone on the bloody holiday.
Yeah, bro, you got to book a flight.
Way to really put me down in the dumps. I've got other things I got to pay for, to be fair. So I got the holidays have to be on pause for a little while. I'm in Europe in June, actually, so a little bit of time, unfortunately.
Non-football season, though. How are you this week, Michelle?
Yeah, the one time of the year where there's nothing on.
I believe I have recovered from the jet lag for the most part. I don't think going to Adelaide helped, but I think we're doing all right. I'm still awake, so...
Still awake. All right, let's jump straight into things. So Central Coast Wellington kicked things off this week. Central Coast picking up their first home win since returning against Wellington. Knocked them off the perch. We don't have to talk about them this week, Cody. Stop looking so excited. Happy days on the Central Coast. I'm just trying to find all the stats. Give me 2 seconds. I am very not prepared, guys. I'm sorry. But all in all, pretty Annalise Rasmussen gets the goal. And I think the cool thing about this story is that she was a Central Coast prospect that came up with the team through MPL and everything like that. Then it's their first signing when they come back to the league and gets the winner for their first home win. That's like a full round circle story, right?
Yeah, I believe she's a local girl as well. Not 100% sure on that one, but yeah, definitely comes through the club, come through their system. If she was an actual local of Gosford, that'd be great as well. I think I need to fact check myself on that one, but
I believe she is.
That's a dub for you. It's always fantastic, wholesome stories going on in this league. It's absolutely fantastic to see. But it's credit to the Mariners as well. You're talking, I think it's their first home win of the season as well. Their last one came from against Adelaide, so plenty to be excited about. They played a good game too. You mentioned Wellington as well. I know I don't like talking about them too much, but they played a decent game too. They're still up thereabouts. So I don't think that this is going to be their downfall or anything like that. They'll probably still steamroll through. But for Mariners, this could be a result that kind of, I won't say it turns their season around, but gives them a springboard to kind of move on from as well.
Yeah. I think the good thing for Wellington to take away from this, they've had 2 losses this year, both just 1-0 defeats. So when they're losing, they're not losing big on their side of things, but really good for Mariners to kick their home win tally off with a bang. Let's jump to the match that we kind of all had our eyes on this week, Victory Perth, ending in a 2-2 draw. This looked like one of those top of the table clashes that we were kind of excited for. I think this was the one where we were like, cool, this is where things are actually going to get started and we're going to see what these teams are made of. And Perth, I think they were at home as well. Couldn't get up, but Victory did a really good job at keeping this level, getting a point, bringing things home. I haven't had a chance to watch any A-League this week. What did you guys see of this game and what do you think of this?
It's a nice little battle between Lowry and Lowe, wasn't it? It's like kind of like 2 young goats going at each other. I put it up on Twitter just as a little bit of a joke, but like 2 absolutely fantastic players, and it speaks more to what we have coming to the future as well. With, I don't know, you're talking 2 actual young Matildas there, literally in the young Matildas team, not just young players in the Matilda squad, but 2 girls that you give them 1 or 2 years could probably be knocking on that door as well. Rachel Lowe, I'm pretty sure she's made a debut for the Matildas already as well, but made this game an absolute joy to watch. You mentioned Victory made it difficult for Perth as well. It's what we've kind of been saying about Melbourne Victory, hasn't it? They were going to be a side that was going to be at least tough to score against, and you know it's full credit to Hannah Lowry for actually being able to do that twice. But I think we're really starting to see Melbourne Victory at their best as well. I know the game didn't go the way they wanted it to, but you're still seeing a side that's showing that they can compete at the top of the table. So it's a good sign for Victory moving forward. It'll be interesting to see how they move on from this. It'll be interesting to see how Perth move on from this too. But I don't think either side, Perth definitely aren't going to complain considering they're staring down the barrel of a defeat. Victory might think they've lost 2 points, but I think in the grand scheme of things, the draw probably was the most fair result, and it's not a bad result for either side as well, all things considered.
Yeah. Anything to add on this one, Michelle?
I think. I mean, I kind of disagree. I don't think this was Melbourne Victory at their best. I think Perth Glory really had them, especially in that first half. It was all Perth. I think Victory didn't really come out until the second half, and even then, the first goal was really scrappy. The second goal, Rachel Lowe's second goal, was great. The volley was insane. But I don't really think this is Melbourne Victory at their top tier just yet. I think they're getting there. But Hannah Lowry, is a really good young player, someone really exciting to watch. I know everyone, everyone's talking about Rachel Lowe at the moment, Holly Mackham more so this season. So I think, that's definitely a player to watch out for. But I think, overall, really interesting game. Just the way that the two teams played, I think it was really fun to watch. Great sunsets in Perth. I think that's, a big bonus for them over there. Look, I think Perth definitely deserved to have won this game. But this is what happens when you fall asleep at the wheel and you think that you've got it in the bag. And I think that's, a bit of the problem when you're up that high, because everyone wants to beat you and wants to make sure that you don't go undefeated. So, and with a team like Melbourne Victory and with a player like Rachel Lowe who knows what it's like to win, you can't just assume that the game is over. Not that I'm not saying that they assume that the game was over, but you can't turn off at those moments, especially like last 10 minutes of the game. Like that is when you have to be the most focused. But really good matchup between the two. But I think Melbourne still has more to give as the season continues.
Yeah, at their best may not have been the best words and not the ones that I was trying to use, but you compare it to maybe the start of the season, and I say this knowing full well that they've won 2 games since then, but they did start the season very poorly. We weren't sure where they were going to go. So to move forward and to almost get 3 points away from basically the form team in the league against a side that hasn't, I think it's been 9 games now since Perth have lost at home. So you're talking a tough place to go to after a start of the season that, maybe wasn't the best, even if you have won 2 games since. So look, there's as much as Victory probably weren't at their best. It's if you asked them before the game if they took a 2-2 draw, they might take it. Obviously, a club like Melbourne Victory, there's a statutory thing there that maybe says otherwise, but anyone else that had the start of the season that they did probably does take that result. So there's something there to play for, as much as it probably isn't them at their best. Poor use of words by me. I'll say that.
Jeff Hopkins also picked up a yellow card in that game, which was funny. So just thought I'd add that in.
Something about coaches getting yellow cards that really it makes me laugh. It's
well, Ante got a yellow card in the Adelaide game, so I can't laugh too much.
No, even when Postecoglou got it against Chelsea, I remember watching that thing and, oh my God, this is funny. I don't know, it's just something about it. It tickles my fancy a little bit.
Good segue there, Michelle. Let's jump over to Adelaide. Away days galore for Sydney FC. Coming back home from the AFC Club Championship and going straight back into form. 3 points, 3-1. Pretty decisive win from everything I saw. What was it like in the ground? I think was a pretty good turnout in Adelaide this week. I can't remember. I did see a number, I think, but I can't remember exactly what it was. No, I didn't see a number this week. What was it like in the ground, Michelle? How was Adelaide going? And obviously, what was it like seeing your girls on the ground again in Sky Blue? Yeah,
I mean, for those of you, I don't know if people know this, but I literally just went in and out on the same day. Like I literally flew in at I left at 9:30 in the morning, and then I had to rush to the airport after the game. So I literally just went for the game. But yeah, I mean, I hadn't been to Marden Sports whatever before. And and it was cool. It was a nice little ground with like 3 like spots to sit, and then you've got like a hill. So I think it's like a really good spot for Adelaide to play at.
It's an easy place to get to.
I got an Uber.
Ah, fair enough.
Yeah. Don't ask me about public transport because I won't take it. But I'm killing the environment one Uber at a time. Anyways, the game. Let's talk about the game and not my Uber habits. It was. I think Sydney played really well in the first half. I think it was all Sydney in the first half. Shay Connors, bro, so unlucky that Annalie Grove decided to show up today because she had missed a number of shots and had a number of them saved as well. So very unlucky, but Fiona Wirtz scoring against her old side in their home twice is pretty funny, very entertaining for me, as I was the only one supporting Sydney. I'm pretty sure there was like one other guy supporting Sydney I see in the crowd. But okay, let me tell you this. So I got there early so I could set up my banner, but I went all the way down to the end in the sun. I was like, no one's going to come out this way. And then everyone starts like sitting near me and stuff. And I'm like, can't you tell that like I don't want to be near you people? Like, go away and leave me alone. Anyway, so I was stuck with all these Adelaide supporters near me. But thankfully we won. And thankfully no Adelaide junkies stabbed me on the way out. That's a joke. Joke. We love Adelaide. But yeah, I think Josh is dying. Second half, Adelaide definitely turned it on. Obviously, they got a goal right at the end of the first half, but at the second half, Adelaide definitely was like, okay, well, we have to beat this team. We have to win a game at some point in this season. But they didn't still. I think, very unlucky for Lucy Johnson, who was subbed on and then quickly subbed off due to an injury. I believe it's like something to do with her ankle or her foot. Like I saw her leaving with a boot. Hoping that it's not for too long, but can't be too certain at this stage. But yeah, sending all the healing vibes to her. But yeah, I think from what I heard from the players, they're still jet lagged as well. So jet lagged, they flew in on Tuesday morning. They landed at like 7 a.m. or something. Had 1 day off, 2 days training on Thursday, Friday, and then flew to Adelaide on Saturday, played on Sunday, and then left on Sunday afternoon. So to go all the way from Uzbekistan to Australia to Adelaide, or to Sydney to Adelaide, it's a lot. So I think it is pretty good that they were able to get the 3 points in the end. So I'm happy with that. Also, Princess Abini scoring a penalty takes me back to the grand final. So big happy with that.
If that Sydney FC jet lagged, I would hate to see how they play when they're back to full fitness. Bloody hell.
I was just thinking about that.
Yeah, same. I can't wait.
That's probably one of Adelaide's better games too. I thought Annalie Grove. I know you mentioned her before. She decided to kind of turn up that game. It's probably the best game I've seen her play this season. So definitely warranted. But I don't think it was Adelaide's worst by any means game this season. They've definitely played a lot worse. And for Sydney FC to kind of steer on the way they did, and the fact that they were jet lagged at the same time, that's nuts, man. The Sydney FC side is really, they've always been something else, but the fact that you look at the depth they've got up front now as well, especially when Courtney Vine comes back. I know it's still a little bit of a young midfield, but this side's so good to watch. I've honestly missed watching in the last couple of weeks. They have them back. I understand they've been playing in Uzbekistan. We could kind of watching that first game was an absolute nightmare to watch, quietly speaking, but having them back, just being able to see them on home soil again, it's fantastic. It's great for the league. It's great for football fans in this country. And there's 5 or 6 players there that you'd almost pay the entry fee to watch alone. It's lovely.
100%. All right, let's head up to Queensland. Brisbane falling to Western United in front of a near 2.5K crowd. So we're getting some decent numbers at these games. The final game that we're talking about topped the the attendance count for the weekend. But Western United going away, picking up a win that they definitely needed. So I think that's good for their seasonal prospects. Brisbane kind of have stumbled the last 2 weeks in games that they probably should have picked up points at least. Did they get a draw last week, or what was the go last week? Brisbane. Yeah, a draw against Central Coast.
Draw to the Mariners.
Yeah, so bit of a stumble coming out of down the straight, essentially, for the Brisbane at the moment. But good for Western United because everyone knows they needed points. So to go away and pick up 3, very, very happy with this. And Carly Johnson kind of put them on the map, and then they just parked the bus, essentially, and held Brisbane out. So, yeah, any comments here?
If they parked the bus by any means. I don't know if they parked the bus by any means. I thought they actually kind of dominated that game. So, like, they'll look for, like, there were stages where they probably looked like they could have gotten a second. I wouldn't say it was Brisbane's best game by any means, but a new manager coming in do get a little bit of some. I know everyone kind of talks about that new manager bounce. Usually that's what occurs. I don't know what the situation is here. It doesn't. Sometimes new managers, if they want to implement a new style and kind of overhaul things, which I think the way Brisbane let go of Gareth McPherson, that is kind of what they're looking at. They're looking at someone that's going to bring a fresh style of play, fresh ideas to the club. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's teething issues in that regard. But yeah, look, hopefully they'll get their kind of ducks in a row sooner rather than later. But yeah, Western United, actually thought they played a good game of football. Like there were stages I wouldn't have been surprised if Keane got on the score sheet. Johnson got another one. Johnson's one that's actually been in fantastic form, mind you. Hillary Beale coming back into the side as well. Looks like it's going to be a bit of a, I'd say, a shrewd piece of business, but they've brought her in before. Everyone knows her quality. But no, I think this Western United side, they did have kind of that bump in the road at the start of the season, but they're not the only team to fall to Perth glory at home, I guess. But yeah, look, I think it's exciting things for Western United going forward.
Yeah, I agree. I think Hillary Beale coming back is really important for this Western United side. But yeah, I think also really unfortunate for Brisbane with more injury news as Chelsea Blissett went down, and it's looking like a knee injury. I don't know. It's a lot of ACLs going around. Hoping it's not an ACL because obviously we don't want to see that for anyone. Nat Tobin's obviously done hers. And then I guess the talking point of the next game will be Holly McNamara as well, whether or not she's done hers. But yeah, I don't know how much more talk people can do about this ACL situation in the women's game before, you know, research gets done or until a solution has been found. But really hoping it's not an ACL. It's obviously nothing's been confirmed yet. But yeah, definitely looks pretty rough as she went down.
100%. And
I mean, worst case scenario, both those ones hit.
Go.
Sorry. You mentioned Holly McNamara as well. Let's just say both of those are the worst case scenario, and they both kind of turn out to be ACL injuries. You're talking that'll be 4 in the first 5 rounds, won't it? That's not good. That's I hate to steal your words, Michelle, but I'm going to basically repeat what you just said. How long can you do this for before there's an inquiry, before someone, at the very least, looks into it? I don't know what they're doing overseas, but there's got to be, surely there's a university medic student somewhere that's going, you know what, I want to put something into this and actually see what's going on. Like, it's a worthwhile topic to look into from a general perspective, but the fact that it could do so much good for the women game as well, if someone just kind of puts their head down and goes, okay, we need a solution to this issue. I think there's a company somewhere, I think they might be in England or something, looking to design a boot that's actually specified for women's feet as well, if that kind of plays into it in any way. Look, I'm not a doctor, I will admit. I'm not 100% across all the medic kind of things, but someone's got to look into this. Like, you can't have 4 ACLs in 5 weeks and just go, oh no, how unlucky. thoughts and prayers only go so far, unfortunately.
Yeah. And that's just looking at the Aussie game too. There's been 4 or 5 in the WSL as well. So, like, there's 8 knees that are gone.
And that's the thing, like, you look at
4 weeks.
100%, and it's not an issue that's specified just to Australia as well, and I definitely wouldn't want to suggest that. But when you look at what's happening overseas, they're professionals. If they've got full-time contracts, if they get an injury, they've got hopefully world-class facilities that they can go and do their rehab in. You look at someone like Nat Tobin, she had to take a couple of weeks off work when she got her injury. Like, there's so much more at play and so much more at risk when you're looking at what's going on here. So 100% something that we need to, if people overseas can do all the research they want in the world, we've got to do something locally too.
Yeah, 100%.
Definitely. I also just want to reiterate that nothing's been confirmed with these players.
At the time of recording, at least, to be fair.
Yeah, at the time of recording, nothing's been confirmed. Don't want to be spreading anything that's not true.
100%.
Didn't we start a rumor that Sam Kerr was going to sign for Barca?
And then Michelle.
That was just you, Cody.
Who said we weren't spreading shit that wasn't true? We do that all the time. Well, I do that all the time.
Michelle hadn't listened to an episode until we mentioned that last week, and she's like, shit, what have these guys been talking crap about while I haven't been here? All right, let's jump to my hometown. Last game of the A-League round. Newcastle at home, 3,200 fans packing out number 2 sports ground. Massive turnout in Newey. Probably boosted by the fact that EVE came back for her first of 4 games, gets on the score sheet straight away. And then obviously we've already mentioned Holly. She netted the winner and then went down straight after with a suspected knee injury. Still more to look at that. Was looking good for the Jets to grab a point here. This would have been a really good point for them, to be fair, against a City team that's now sitting second in the table. So injury time winner for Holly McNamara, kind of putting the knife in Newcastle's side there. But great to see big numbers. Newcastle. My brain just turned off for a second there, guys. I glitched. Sorry. But all in all, great game, tons of goals. And that's the thing. We're seeing a lot of goals throughout the rounds. What do we see? We've got a ton this week, just let alone there's 4, 7, 8, 10, 13, 14, 15 goals this round. And that's not even the highest round this year so far. So, like, good to see the ball hitting the back of the net consistently. It's making things very exciting to watch as a fan, for sure. How do we see things in Newcastle come to play? And, yeah, take it away.
I want to talk about Van Egmond. I think there's 2 things that you can kind of point out to, where one would be the off-field stuff where you have a Matilda on the field and suddenly it's bigger than what any kind of international marquee could do, really. Yeah. It's not just about it's a recognisable name, but it's also a recognisable name that you can relate to in a way so much. Talk about Van Egmond coming to Newcastle. She's a hometown girl. People love that. That's absolutely fantastic. That's that kind of impact. That's what kind of brings people in. Same thing with Courtney Vine, Sydney FC. People pay the entry fee just to kind of watch her on her own. Mm. And having Van Egmond back in the league now, it's fantastic. People are going to go out. They're going to want to see her. You'll see wherever she goes. I reckon you'll start seeing her, even if it's not bumper crowds in the way that someone like Courtney Vine did in round 1 or kind of did in Brisbane in round 2, obviously combined with Tamika Yallop. But people will go out to watch her. People will go, oh, wow, there's Matilda about to play down the road from me, because they do tend to play in these local grounds. People want to go out and see that. People love it. And the other thing that kind of Van Egmond, I guess, shows with us coming in, she's playing for a Newcastle Jets side that, let's be real, isn't amongst the top teams in the league. Mm-hmm. She's come into a game against Melbourne City, who I think they were coming first at one stage, or if not, they're very close to it. I'm pretty sure they are coming first. I don't have the ladder up in front of me.
No, they're still second at the moment.
They're equal first, with Perth.
Yeah.
Equal with Perth, that's right. I got that kind of mixed up. But the fourth side of the league, undefeated, and she's there almost taking the piss, basically, in that first half. Mm. You come in, she shows a level of ability that is a lot higher than at least 90% of the players around her. It shows how good you have to be playing in the A-League to actually warrant a Matilda selection nowadays. And obviously it shows that the A-League does have a bit of growing room to do in terms of where our best talent is and where our domestic competition is.
Yeah.
But it also shows how bloody good some of our Matildas are as well, because you're talking about Emily Van Egmond, she's not exactly an out-and-out starter in the Matilda side either. So the fact that she's kind of set the standard going, hey, if you want to play for the Matildas, this is where you've got to get to. It's a warning sign for the other three sides that Newcastle's got to play in the coming weeks, because that's 3 other games that Newcastle are going to be very, very good for. But it's good for young players as well that can kind of look at her and go, this is the standard that I've got to get to if I want to be in the Matildas. That's my blueprint. I'm going to go out there and try and do that. And the fact that her opposite number in this game, Daniela Galic, who is probably outside of Holly McNamara, the closest person to that level of ability on the field. It's a good, I don't want to say inspiration because I don't know if that's the right word, but I'm going to say it because I can't think of anything else. It's a good blueprint to look at.
100%. Anything to add on this one, Michelle? We've touched on probably the highest talking point coming out of here, but
yeah, I mean, I guess just to keep banging on about it, I think it's important to see clearly that the Matildas have such a huge part in attendance figures, and we could see this before the mass exodus of when they all went to England and followed Sam. The crowds were doing semi-decent, and we were getting some decent numbers coming through. And then once Sam left, and then Caitlin Ford left, and Steph Catley, and Lydia Williams, and Ellie Carpenter, Kaya Simon, everyone left, and everyone was like, okay, well, what's the point? Like, there's no Matildas here anymore. I'm not going to watch these games anymore. I'm not going to come. I've got no reason to. So I think, by sprinkling them throughout the league, I think it helps, especially because I think people don't understand, look, maybe controversial opinion, whatever people think of Emily Van Egmond as a player, she's got a very high profile as a person, and people like her a lot, and she's got a big fan base. So people are going to come and watch her play. So, it's a good thing. It's a good thing for Newcastle. Obviously, hometown girl, her dad's coaching the team. So it's a good thing for Newcastle for the crowds. And I think that's important for the league as well.
Yeah, 100%. All right, let's pack our bags. That's A-League done and dusted for now. Let's head over to where I currently am, because there has been some pretty fun results this week in the WSL. Kick it off, Chelsea absolutely dominating Liverpool. Lauren James gets a hat-trick here. I don't think Sam got on the score sheet this week. But after that...
Got an assist, though.
There you go. Thank
you,
Cody.
She did not score.
And Liverpool's goal was a Jess Carter own goal as well. So Liverpool didn't actually score. Pretty good talking point for Tegan Micah to potentially get a league run now after something like that. Obviously, you can't take Chelsea with a grain of salt. They are playing really well. But Tegan's been doing pretty well in the Conti Cup. So after something like that, it might be a good shout for her to get a league run or two here to see if she can stem the tide for Liverpool going forward potentially, which could be fun for us to watch. Yes. Let's go to... Sorry, this is weird not doing this with 2 screens, guys. I usually have a very good setup. Everton dropping... I say dropping points. Drawing with Bristol 2-2. It's in... weird results. There was a lot of talk around the stadiums yesterday. I was at the United City game, and there was a lot of talk about the different results and how teams were playing, and even Arsenal looked like they were potentially going to fumble a lead to Brighton at one point before turning on the burners and scoring another 2 to win 3-0. But all in all, I think... Oh no, Claire Wheeler got a full 90 again, so at least she's back in the starting lineup there. That's a good thing for Everton. Good thing for Claire as well. I think what she did during that last international break probably opened Everton's eyes to what they'd had sitting on the bench for a little bit, maybe. So good to see her getting minutes again, at least. Let's go to Michelle's
Playing as a right
Olsen.
back by it, isn't she?
I think she played as in the midfield this week. I think.
Oh.
Maybe. I don't know. I didn't see much.
Right back.
Okay.
I'm gonna say kind of a positional change. It's working out well for her. At least she's getting minutes.
Exactly, 100%. She can't complain with that. I think the biggest game from an Aussie perspective this week, Arsenal, Kyra Cooney-Cross not only plays nearly the full 90, but gets player of the match as well. This is probably the biggest talking point of this week from our perspective. Michelle, your Arsenal girls are kicking bum once again after a stumble and a half at the start of the season. It looks like they've started to turn things around, and Kyra holding down that midfield looks pretty bloody good.
Yeah, it's great to see Caitlin Ford as well getting on the score sheet. So the Aussie girls just doing it right. I think like people were questioning why Jonas wasn't playing Kyra for a long time, and everyone was like, put her on. Like, you obviously signed her for this much money for a reason. Play her. She gets a run, I think, I don't know if it was League Cup or FA Cup, one of the cup runs, and obviously proved a point, made a really good impression on Jonas, and it kind of she's now started the last two games, and has obviously done well enough to get player of the match. So it's great to see that she's improving like every single week. And like, obviously when she was, it's such a stark difference from Kyra Cooney-Cross at Western Sydney to Kyra Cooney-Cross at Arsenal. So it's really good to see, I guess, the improvement. And I know I've like been very anti-Jonas for a very long time, but it's good to see the trust he has in the young players that he's signed. So great to see. I think this Arsenal side is picking up form really nicely, which is good. Can't complain. The only thing I can complain about is Mackenzie Hawkesby still doesn't get to play. Let her on the field. Brighton, if you're listening, get her on the field.
Brighton really have nothing to kind of fight back against us on that either. Like, they're not exactly putting up the results to say their starting 11 is doing well.
Nah, what do you got to lose? What do you got to lose?
100%.
They're sitting 8th.
Yeah.
On 7 points in 7 games. Like, win a game maybe. Try something new.
Cody, anything to add to Arsenal this week?
Not on top of what kind of Michelle's kind of gone through already. I mean, Kyra Cooney-Cross is an absolute machine. She's showing what she could do at a top level. I'm surprised. I'll say I'm a little bit surprised that she has managed to kind of settle in and perform at the level that she is this quickly. I know we're talking at the start of the season when she was in and out, well, not really in and out of the squad, but just wasn't really getting a run. And I said it then, I was like, these things take some time. It may be a season before she's kind of in there consistently as a starting player, and it happened in about 8 weeks. So clearly I was wrong, but hey, I'm not one to look a gift horse in the mouth. I am absolutely stoked that she's getting some good minutes, and the fact that she's been named man of the match as well. Her potential really do be crazy. Like, this is absolutely nuts. It's probably because it's a new age. We haven't seen a lot of players in Australia, or female players in Australia, go to Europe at this age before. A lot of them, that kind of boom happened when a lot of our Matildas were around 25, 26, 27. So I guess we haven't really got anything to compare what's happened to in the past. Maybe Mary Fowler's the only other one that you can compare it to. But the fact that we've got a young player performing at this level, it's a great sign for the future. People talk, and Kiri Knapp's going to back me up on this because he's the one that kind of goes on about it. We talk about being the golden generation now. The ones that are coming through next are absolutely nuts too. So it's a never-ending cycle. This is just where Australia is. We're just machines of football, aren't we?
Yeah, 100%. And it's kind of good too. Like, she's slotted in. She's playing. I think she's been playing on the left-hand side as well. So probably having Caitlin and Steph there to help her kind of settle into a team that's just overflow, and they're not even at full strength. Like Miedemar wasn't even listed in the roster for this game. They've still got Leah Williamson to come back, and they play West Ham next week. So with the way West Ham are going, I'm kind of expecting a big score next week from Arsenal, which is going to be bloody fun to watch in person, hopefully. Let's go. All right. Next game. It's a perfect segue. Look at that. I knew what I was talking about. Villa taking the points over West Ham. I keep kicking this West Ham horse while it's down, and I don't think there's anything I can do any further. I don't know what it is, but they need to make a change because Paul Mack has taken an absolute battering in goals. This game was going on just before kickoff of the game that I was at last night, and one of the girls next to me was getting constant updates. She's like, "Oh, Villa just scored. Villa just scored." Oh, I was like, "God damn it!" But this was one of those ones to put a kind of little gap between them and the bottom, and now the kind of relegation talks are real. For West Ham, especially with Bristol kind of starting to pick up a few points here and there. They had a win last week. Then they pick up a point against Everton here. They're doing what they need to kind of get out of that spot, and West Ham keep just kind of pulling back. So this could be a scary look forward for that West Ham team, going up against an Aston Villa team that wasn't doing much better than themselves either, to be fair. So warning signs. Again, still early. I'm throwing warning signs out, but it's still early. But yeah, I don't know.
I mean, Mackenzie Arnold is underperforming. So it's a bit worrying that our number one is, not performing at her best. She's not performing at a national team level. Like she was at the World Cup. Obviously, she had a great World Cup run. It could be one of those things where, you just have a really good tournament. But once you head back to clubland, it kind of all comes crashing down. Sorry. Our number one isn't performing. Our number two sits on the bench at Liverpool. And our number three, Lydia Williams, is aging and is injury prone. So I was a bit shocked that Jada didn't get selected for the Matilda's camp, but is what it is. But I think, I really hope for, Mackenzie Arnold's sake that something kind of clicks and she gets back into it, because I'm sure that, there's no one that's, more frustrated than herself. But yeah, it's a bit concerning. Maybe it's still early in the season to talk, but it's a bit concerning that she's not doing as well as I think everyone else thinks that she can do.
Yeah.
Look, there's clearly a level of ability that she has. She showed it in the World Cup as well. It's hard to say there's warning signs in terms of like her place in the Matildas or anything like that. I would still like to see Jada Wyman in there. I think you'll probably have her, even for a friendly, just bring her in, just give her experience, give her a debut. She's kind of been hanging around for a little while. I know I said that kind of every week since we started this, but you know what, I'm going to keep saying it until it happens. But in terms of what she's doing in England, it happens, I guess. And we've all followed Mackenzie Arnold's career. There's times where she's really, really good, and there's times in the past where she's been kind of bad as well. So she is a bit of an up and down player. She probably does rely on a bit of confidence as well. You look at how she performed in the World Cup. I think there were a couple of games that she was able to build her confidence up a little bit and perform at a level where by the time she got into the France game, it was like, okay, yeah, I am that girl. I'm going to win us a World Cup quarterfinal. Now she's gone through a bit of a dark period. It doesn't help the way that, and look, maybe she isn't performing at the best as she can, but I can guarantee you there's not many players in West Ham that are. And when you've got a defence in front of you that's out of form, when you've got the start of the season that you've had where some of the games that have lost heavily, you really probably couldn't put on Mackenzie Arnold. It's eventually going to come back onto you where it's like, okay, what more do I do? You start getting in your head, your performance starts dropping, suddenly things do become your own fault and you're underperforming as well.
Yeah.
I'm not pinning everything on West Ham's defence, that she's probably got to take a level of responsibility too, but one, that's Mackenzie Arnold's career. She does go up and down. Two, she's probably not in the environment to really get herself out of a little bit of a trough. I know I've said this already on the podcast 2 or 3 times. It'll be interesting to see how she moves on. Maybe the international break will probably give her a little bit of a refresh when that comes around. Hopefully Arsenal doesn't do too much damage to her confidence before then. But
I think the other stressor is she's got the added stress of being the captain of this team that's underperforming as well. Like, she's wearing the armband and she's not performing. Then she's got to kind of relay that to the squad as well. So, like, there's multiple things here that could be going on in West Ham world. Again, guys, we are all speculation. We do not have any ears or eyes on the inside of any of these teams. This is all just us talking from what we're seeing on paper. Is Remy back yet, Michelle? Courtney played full 90. Looks like she's back.
Remy's back in the squad, but she's
Remy's
not playing.
Yeah, okay. At least she's on the bench. That's what we want. So looks like Nevin's back playing defense and not midfield again, which is good. And last game of the week, I was there last night. Warden atmosphere, 43,000 at Old Trafford was freaking incredible to witness. As City just ran rampant over United. I think AK was mentioned as one of the top performers of the game. I think she got some form of player of the game award from someone. I saw Bunny Shaw doing interviews for the WSL Social as the player of the game, but then I saw another post that AK got it. So, but all in all, this City team looks scary. They have solid rotation. Their attacking threats are just insane. United are trying to play out from the back too much, but the way City press, they play, it all comes from the back forward, and it just looks so good. And I'm saying that as a United fan. Like, this team looks really, really good.
was it that Kennedy was maybe Man City's voted player of the match? I'm not too sure, because I saw something where she was voted player of the match as well. I just can't remember where exactly I saw it, but that might have been where it is. I can't find exactly where it was myself, so I'm just speculating. But the point is, she had a really, really good game in one of Manchester City's biggest fixtures of the season, away from home. Like, what more can you ask for? That's absolutely brilliant. If only Fowler got some more minutes, which of all the games for her to kind of be benched for and to play a big part role, it was Manchester derby. But what can you do in that regard, I guess? But no, Kennedy really produced something special there. That's things you love to see.
Yeah, 100%.
I agree. It's great to see Alana Kennedy back in form and playing well and looking like she did before she went to England. I think going to Spurs kind of turned her into a Spurs player. So,
It's going to say Spurs to do that to you, wouldn't it?
well, yeah. So good to see that she is looking like a City player, looking like someone who knows how to play football. So as much as I don't like City, but, it's good for the national team, good for Alana Kennedy's confidence. It's really good to see. Did Mary Fowler play?
She got the last 8 minutes or something like that. I thought she was going to come on a lot earlier because Bunny Shaw went down twice with 2 head injuries and they didn't sub her off on either.
Oh, she does that.
I was like, bro, it was 11 minutes of added time at the end of the second half purely because of Bunny Shaw. And it was like, bro. But yeah.
Bunny Shaw goes down a lot.
Yes. It was, yeah. But City, I think the reason AK is being praised for this is that City were down to 10 and it looked like they still had 11. Like, I was sitting behind the goal for most of that game and for all the game, but was watching it once they went down to 10 and I was like, they look like they've still got 11. Like, the way that defense and the midfield kind of shifted, it was insane. And AK pretty much ran the whole thing because they had a young goalkeeper in between the sticks. So, yeah, got to hear her barking orders the whole time from the Stretford end, which was fun. Perfect. All right, let's go to Spain, where Haley Razzo and Real Madrid absolutely got trounced by Barcelona in El Clasico, 5-0.
I was going to say, how much attention do we really want to pay to this?
I saw someone take a screenshot and go, "Is Haley Razzo missing?" And I was like, "Cool, that says enough about the game. I'm not going to watch the highlights." But yeah, it looked like Barcelona just turned all the jets on and were like, "Cool, we're going to make this rivalry an actual thing. Let's show them what we're made of." So yeah, we'll leave.
Said we're going to make this rivalry an actual thing. I think they just said we're going to show Real Madrid's nowhere near our level in a way. I haven't seen a lot of those players play since the World Cup, but watching Paraguayo again, watching Bonmati, just on and off thing, absolutely love it. Fantastic players, always a joy to watch. Unfortunately, I don't catch many La Liga feminine games. Probably not as many as what I should, because Bonmati is probably my favourite player in the world to watch at this very minute. I can't think of many players in the men's game that I'd rather watch, if I'm being completely honest. But yeah, in that regard, absolutely special. If I'm looking at Haley Razzo, I think I saw her maybe get on the ball 2 or 3 times in the first half. And
she got subbed off at halftime.
Yeah, look, at the end of the day, it was probably not even that she played bad. I think it was just Barca are just way too good.
Watching them in person is unreal. Like, I know when I watched them play, they played against Sevilla, so it's not like they're playing like top tier team, but like just the way they move the ball. I love Sevilla. It's my favorite city now. But their women's football team, nothing to see. Anyways,
the men are shit too.
The way Barca moves the ball is unreal. Like I don't know. It's just magic. Like they just know exactly where their teammate's going to be at the right time. And I think they're just that level above, which is why these leagues are frustrating in Europe, because not every team is like this. Not every team has the investment and the funding. So it's like, Barcelona, incredible to watch, but not every team can compete with them. Like if Real Madrid is your second best team in the competition and they're losing 5-0 to Barcelona, this is a one-team competition. Like no one else is going to win. It should just be like, okay, Barcelona wins the competition, but then someone should get a prize for coming second. But
we're just going to have a backup competition running in the meantime.
Yeah. Seriously. They want everything.
All right, let's jump over to France, where all 3 Aussie teams got up. Just trying to figure out who played what real quick for us. Ellie Carpenter didn't get a run. Ellie on the bench, unused sub. Interesting. So Ellie Carpenter, unused sub as Lyon beat Dijon 4-1. Claire Hunt plays the full 90 for PSG in a 2-1 win over Fleury, and Sarah Hunter comes on as a substitute as Paris defeat Bordeaux 1-0. All in all, pretty much results that we're kind of expecting from all 3 of those teams, notching up a W. Interesting to see if they were just giving Ellie a break. I think they've got they just came off Champions League too, so that might have just been rotation from Champions League and things like that. And Dijon probably.
Yeah, and it looks like there's a few players missing from that Lyon side as well. So
yes.
I don't think that's too much to read in. Dijon are coming last as well. So
yeah, exactly. It was probably just
a game she's going to miss. I wouldn't worry about it.
100%. All right, let's look forward. Look at this. We're getting good at this, guys. Welcome back, Michelle. It's so good to have you back.
Wait. Hold on.
Oh. What did I miss?
Sarah Hunter played. Like, is this like Sarah Hunter's like second game or something? I feel like she's not been playing.
She's played once or twice. I think she's played. Yeah. I actually don't know. This might have been some of her first minutes.
That's what I'm saying. Like, this is her second game.
I feel. I was going to say. I
2
feel like
games
we've spoken about it before
in the league. So
And she played a full
Great to see.
half
She
too.
played a
She
whole
came on at
half.
half time.
She played the whole second half, basically. So that's awesome. Great to see Sarah Hunter playing
So that's good.
some
That
more
means
minutes
that
in France.
although
Josh is gone. See you later.
That hotel
Wi-Fi.
Wi-Fi is crazy.
No, he's on a hotspot. Have fun editing this one, Josh.
I didn't actually realize that. No, that's fucking hectic that she's playing.
That's what I'm saying. I was like, oh, well, she actually got some minutes. She got to run out there and kick a ball
I
around.
was thinking, nah, she wouldn't have played.
I know.
Put her on.
But she played.
Bordeaux's coming second last too. Only France can be in the same category as well. Leon kind of just steamroll everyone usually too.
Well, yeah, but at least PSG puts up a fight.
Well, Paris is coming second. They beat him 6-0. So, yeah, I guess PSG do tend to put up a fight. To be fair, PSG have 2 games in hand as well.
No. I'm hoping that recorded on your end, so I'll just mark that as a check, that whole thing.
That was a very casual conversation, by the way, just in case.
If it went through, we're okay. So, yeah, good to see Sarah getting minutes, which is good. All right, let's look forward to the week ahead. Do we know if Canberra actually has a stadium for their game against Newcastle this week? Is that...
Canberra wasn't the problem. Western Sydney was the problem.
Oh, okay. All right, I take that back. Sorry, Canberra. I'm not talking shit, I promise. All right, Western United play Western Sydney at home. So hopefully they can build on some form and build some points to kind of make a claim for where we had them, at least on our ladder this week. Perth, this could be an interesting one. Perth go away to Wellington this week. So it'd be good to see if they can carry their form to the longest away day of the year and
Distance
compete.
derby, let's go.
Let's go. Central Coast go down to Melbourne. Newcastle go to Canberra. This could be an interesting one. City go to Sydney. That is going to be a rock. Is that a double header this week as well?
No, sir. No, because the derby's on the day before. Men's derby.
Okay. All right. And then Adelaide go away to Brisbane. So some good games this week to keep an eye on at home. I think Sydney City and Wellington Perth are probably my 2 bookmarks this week. Going to be interesting to see if Central Coast can kind of string some form together as well and maybe take a couple more points off victory or something like that. That could be a very interesting thing to keep an eye on going forward. We've got no one playing in the first game in the WSL next week. Chelsea play Leicester at home next week. Brighton take on Liverpool at home. West Ham go away to Arsenal. I'll be at that one, so let's go for the goal fixture of the week, I think. Everton play Villa at home, and Tottenham go away to City. This is like a really like weird week, I think, for the WSL. This should be a very straightforward, everyone you think should win kind of week, I think. For Ligue 1, we are looking at Paris playing Montpellier, Lyon going away to that team that I can't pronounce. Cody, you'll have to take that one. And Paris playing Reims as well. The one starting with G, Cody, that I couldn't pronounce 2 weeks ago, you know? Cody's trying to scramble to figure out who it is.
Talking about Liga?
Yeah, that one. Thank you. Look at you go.
That's not that hard.
Yeah, but I've just gotten over I don't need to try and pronounce any of the Scandinavian teams anymore, so now I'm just not trying. That's a next season.
You don't have to pronounce the Malsvenskan anymore anyway.
That's character development.
Meroji, that's what throws me off.
Perfect. So that is pretty much football this week, folks. The other big part of news that we've actually got to talk about, because, you know, we are the Talking Tillies podcast, and if we don't talk about the Tillies when the Tillies are announced, we're kind of not doing our job right. So let's jump into Matilda's news with our roster being announced for our games. Obviously, Holly McNamara is now a question mark in this squad. But I think my surprise is Avi Luik coming back into the squad. But other than that, I don't think there's been any changes. Is there someone that's been dropped that I'm not aware of? Thank you. That's who was missing. Interesting. How are we feeling about this squad for these games, guys? Obviously, this is probably... We trounced Canada last time we played them. Do we see that? Do we see us doing it again for 2 games with this squad?
Probably not. We're playing in their ground. It's going to be freezing cold. I'd be surprised if we're trouncing them in a way. We'll be competitive. We'll put up a fight. We're at their level. Maybe we're a little bit above their level, but no, they're playing at home. It's in their conditions, their facilities, their own crowd behind them. I'd be surprised if we're rolling them or anything like that. So probably not going to go that too far ahead. A word on Avi Luik. First of all, I know she's been in and out with injury since the World Cup. But when she's been playing for Harkin this season, she was incredible. So yeah. I don't know if right now, if you're talking about form, I'd have too many arguments with her being in the Matilda squad. What I will say is for a friendly, 2 things that kind of annoy me. 1, you don't need 4 centre-backs. 2, you don't need 2 centre-backs over the age of 35. So I don't know if there's anything to gain from having both her and Polkinghorne in the side. If anything, I'd probably give Polkinghorne a rest. Either give, maybe not even a young centre-back, just get someone else in the squad, keep Chidiac in there. Give another young talent that's playing all right a chance to kind of come in. Obviously, it's good that rules in the side.
She's not asterisk this time, is she?
Actually in as a member of the squad. Not an asterisk this time. She is an actual member of the squad, so that's always good. But even if you want to give someone like Sarah Hunter a go, that would be fantastic as well.
She's not an asterisk because this isn't Olympic qualifiers. It's different.
Yeah, we can actually play whoever we want. We can have as many subs as we want to, I think, this time. Well, obviously within reason. But yeah, I don't see the purpose in having both Luik and Polkinghorne both in the squad for a friendly. And it's going to be interesting when it comes to the Olympics where I think we can only take 22 players in a squad. And that's if they don't decrease it back to what it used to be when it was an 18-player squad. Yeah. You're not going to need 4 centre-backs. You're going to need to drop a couple of players. Either you have a look at who else is around or you have a look at how you go without certain players. And if I'm looking at form, if I'm I'd be picking either between Luik and Polkinghorne. If I'm looking on form, I'd probably be saying keep Luik in the squad.
Happy days. All right. Michelle, take it away. Anything?
No, I thought I had thoughts, but my thoughts aren't really anything. I was just going to say it sucks that she's not in the squad anymore. Seems, I don't know, it's a lot of things probably in the back room that we don't really know about or are privy to. But
I don't think she's getting a lot of time in Mexico either. I think that's probably playing into things.
Well, yeah, and the Mexico fans aren't happy either. Like they are. I think they're a little
comes on late, and everyone complains why she comes on late.
I think they're angrier than us with her game time.
It surprised me they're a lot more passionate about their football than what we tend to be. So if they don't like something, they make sure people know about it.
Yeah, I think, I mean, I mentioned it earlier. Like, I think the only thing that I was a bit like, question mark was the goalkeeping situation. And I guess now other question mark is the fitness of Holly McNamara. We know why Courtney Vine's not in the squad. A lot of people were like, where's Vine? Where's Vine? She's still injured. Like, relax.
Yeah.
It's been about 3 weeks since she played. Well, she hasn't played since the last Matilda's game. She got that injury in that game.
Yeah.
Well, I think some of the people I've been speaking to are like, it's probably going to be like a 6-week sort of thing. So she might not be back for a while. Right? Yeah.
Yeah, those things are. Well, we saw what Carlos can do during the World Cup, to be fair.
Exactly. So I'd rather, if she doesn't need to play, then she doesn't need to play. Let her rest and let her get the rehab done properly and not put any more strain on it.
To be non-competitive set of fixtures as well. Like,
it's not a World Cup.
Yeah.
And her dropping out of the squad means Rule can come in, Holly McNamara can come in. It's a good thing. We want to see what else is coming through. It's a chance that one player comes out, it opens the door for someone else. That's the important thing that we've got to remember here. So absolutely fantastic what we come in. Hopefully Courtney Vine's back soon. I can imagine by the time the Olympics comes around, it's not like she's going to lose her place or anything like that. Give someone else a go. See what we've got for the generation after. That's just as important. That's what friendlies are meant to be. It's about seeing what you have, how you use them, how they got at this level.
Yep, 100%. All right, folks, that is us for another week. Congratulations on making it through another one. We've survived another 7 days, and we have a whole heap more football still ahead. I think we are now about 2 weeks off our next international break. I think it was are the games on the 2nd of December or it's the first weekend in December, I think. So we've got about 2 weeks.
Yeah, it should be. It's the first week.
It's the 2nd and the 6th.
There we go. Perfect. So we've got about 2 weeks until Matilda's back on our screens. Until then, you know where you can catch them: A-League, WSL, and in France and Spain. If you really want to indulge your football fantasies, go ahead. And we will be back next week with a brand new episode of the Talking Tillies podcast. See you later.